If you were 70 years old, and had never once picked up a guitar, would you still try to learn? It's the kind of question that makes you pause. Maybe you'd chuckle and say, oh no, that's for the young folks. Or maybe you'd sigh and whisper, I wish I had, back then. But what if we stopped thinking about what used to be, and instead asked ourselves, what if now is just the right time? This is Margaret's story. At 70, Margaret lives alone in a cozy home in a small town in Ohio. Her kids are grown, the house is quieter now, and the rhythm of her days has slowed. She spent most of her life putting others first. Like many women of her generation, she was the caretaker, the peacemaker, the one who made sure everyone else was okay. Dreams? They were folded neatly and tucked away, behind bills, behind bedtime stories, behind life's many responsibilities. But something shifted last winter. On a cold January morning, as snow fell gently outside her window, Margaret found herself staring at an old video of a woman, around her age, playing a folk song on guitar. It wasn't perfect. Her hands trembled. But there was something in her smile. Something alive. Something free. That night, Margaret searched online for beginner guitars. The next day, she signed up for her very first music lesson. She didn't start to become famous. She didn't want to perform on stage. She started because something inside her whispered, it's your turn now. This isn't just a story about learning music. It's a story about starting over. About believing, even at 70, that joy, discovery, and even a little rebellion, are still possible. Because maybe the truth is, it's never too late to begin again. And sometimes, the most beautiful songs come from the deepest places in our hearts, no matter when we find the courage to sing them. Margaret lives in a quiet town in Oregon, where the pace is slow, the neighbors wave as they pass by, and the seasons still matter. She's 70 now. Her days are quieter than they used to be. Her home, once filled with the buzz of family dinners and the soundtrack of a life shared, now echoes with stillness. Just a few months ago, she lost her husband, Bill, the man she loved for over 45 years. They met in college, married young, and built a life together filled with the ordinary and the extraordinary, raising 2 kids, building a home, taking road trips with bad directions and better stories. He was her partner in everything, her best friend. And now, he's gone. When Bill passed, something in Margaret shifted. She describes it as a strange kind of silence, not just in the house, but in her own sense of purpose. There were no more schedules to follow, no one to cook for, no one to wait up for. Just time. And a sense of something missing. Her children? They love her dearly. But life is busy. One lives in Seattle, the other in Texas. They check in often, send photos of the grandkids, but the distance is real, in miles and in rhythm. Margaret doesn't blame them. She raised them to be independent, after all. But still, there are days when the phone doesn't ring. And the only sound is the creak of the floorboards beneath her steps. And yet, inside Margaret, something was still quietly alive. A whisper she had carried with her for decades, music. She had always loved it. As a girl, she'd sit by the radio for hours, listening to folk songs and daydreaming. As a young mother, she'd hum old tunes while folding laundry or stirring soup. And for as long as she could remember, she had dreamed of learning the guitar. Not to perform, not for anyone else, just for the joy of it. But there was always something else to do. A diaper to change. A bill to pay. A dinner to cook. Always someone who needed her more than her own dreams did. And so, the dream waited. For years. For decades. Until now. It happened on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. Margaret had gone to the library, like she often did, just to browse, to feel the comfort of a quiet space filled with stories. As she was reaching for a mystery novel, something colorful caught her eye on the community bulletin board. A simple flyer. Printed in cheerful blue letters. Guitar for beginners, community class, all ages welcome. Held right here, at the library. Free of charge. No experience needed. Just bring your curiosity. She stared at it for a long time. Her first instinct? Oh no, that's not for me. My hands are stiff. My memory's not what it used to be. I'm too old to learn something new. But then, a quiet thought whispered back. Or maybe, you're not. It was a bold decision. Not because of the guitar, but because it meant choosing herself. Choosing to try. The first class came. She sat in a circle of strangers, some her age, some teenagers with nervous smiles. When the teacher handed her a guitar, Margaret felt both excitement and fear. Her fingers fumbled. The strings were stiff and sharp. She accidentally broke a string in the first 15 minutes. She couldn't find the beat. She mixed up the chords. Her hands ached for days after. And yet, she kept coming back. She made a promise to herself. Just 15 minutes a day. That's all I ask. Some days, it was messy. Some days, it was magical. But little by little, her fingers found their way. And so did her heart. Because sometimes, success isn't about playing perfectly. It's about showing up. Again and again. With patience. With grace. And with the courage to begin, even when it's hard. Learning the guitar at 70 isn't just about chords and strumming. For Margaret, the hardest parts weren't just physical, they were emotional. Let's start with the physical challenges. Her fingers, stiff from arthritis, moved slowly. Her eyesight, not what it used to be, made reading chord charts difficult. Sometimes she'd forget the fingering she had just practiced the day before. The frustration would creep in, quietly, like a shadow. Maybe I'm just too old for this. And then there were the other doubts. Her class had a few teenagers, a couple of folks in their 30s and 40s. They picked things up fast. Their fingers flew across the fretboard. Margaret often felt like she was slowing the group down. She told herself, I'm the oldest here, what am I doing? But here's the thing about Margaret. She's no stranger to hard things. She raised 2 kids. Took care of a sick husband. She knows what it means to show up, even when no one's clapping for you. So she came up with her own plan. She filled her home with tiny reminders to believe in herself. She started recording her practice sessions on her phone, not to judge, but to celebrate. To hear how far she'd come, even if it was just 1 chord cleaner than the day before. And slowly, things began to shift. She found connection in unexpected places. 2 other classmates, both in their 60s, gravitated toward her. They became her music buddies. They started meeting once a week to practice together, share stories, and yes, vent about sore fingers and stubborn chords. That little circle of support made all the difference. They weren't just learning music, they were learning how to keep learning, together. Because here's the truth Margaret discovered. Your age isn't a wall. It's a doorway, to patience, to wisdom, to grace. Yes, her fingers still ache some days. Yes, she still misses a beat now and then. But every time she picks up that guitar, she picks up something else too. Confidence. Connection. And a quiet, powerful pride. For months. That's how long it had been since Margaret first picked up a guitar. It hadn't been easy. But now, here she was, standing in front of a small crowd at the local nursing home, guitar in hand, heart pounding. She wasn't a polished performer. She didn't have fancy lighting or a perfect set list. But she had something even better, a story to tell, through music. That performance, humble, simple, full of heart, was recorded by a staff member on their phone and uploaded to Facebook. And then, something amazing happened. Within days, the video had been viewed over 500,000 times. Hundreds of comments poured in. You just made my day. I'm 73, maybe it's not too late for me either. This gives me hope. Margaret was shocked. She never expected to go viral. She just wanted to make someone smile. But sometimes, that's exactly how inspiration works, it travels quietly, and lands loudly. Soon after, she was invited to be a guest of honor at a local music group called Seniors Can Rock. A place where people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, came together to sing, to play, to share. Her story lit a spark. In the weeks that followed, more seniors signed up for the community music classes. Some chose guitar like Margaret. Others picked up ukuleles, sat down at pianos, or joined the local senior choir. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about being brave. About giving themselves permission to start again, and to feel alive doing it. What started as a quiet promise to herself, just 15 minutes a day, turned into something bigger. A ripple. A movement. A reminder that joy has no age limit. Margaret didn't just learn how to play music. She helped others hear their own forgotten song. Margaret's story isn't just about music. It's about hope. It's about choosing life, even after great loss. And it's a gentle reminder for all of us. It is never too late to learn something new. Science has shown that learning a new skill after the age of 60 doesn't just bring joy. It actually helps reshape the brain. Picking up a guitar, learning to sing, trying a new hobby, these things can improve memory, reduce the risk of Alzheimer's, lower stress levels, boost emotional well-being, and perhaps most beautifully, bring people together. At 70, Margaret didn't want to chase fame. She wasn't trying to be impressive. She simply wanted to feel alive again. And as she once said, through tears and a smile, I didn't learn to perform. I learned because I wanted to feel like I'm still alive. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you're 60, 70, or 85, know this. The music inside you hasn't gone silent. Maybe it's just waiting for you to listen. So here we are. The story of a woman who dared to start again. At 70. Not because she had to, but because something inside her whispered, it's your turn now. Margaret didn't set out to become a musician. She wasn't chasing applause or trying to prove anything. She just wanted to feel alive. To wake up and have something to look forward to. To challenge her hands, her heart, her habits. To reconnect with the part of herself that had been quietly waiting for decades. And through music, she found it again. This story isn't just hers. It could be yours. Whether you're 50, 60, or 75. It's never too late to begin. To pick up that paintbrush, or learn a language, or dance barefoot in your living room. To plant a garden. To write a poem. To start again. Because at this stage of life, it's not about perfection. It's not about how quickly you learn or how good you are. It's about joy, curiosity, connection. It's about waking up and saying, "This day matters. And so do I." Now, let me ask you something. Is there a dream inside you that's been waiting quietly? Maybe it's something you gave up years ago. Or something you've never dared to try. Drop it in the comments below. Share your someday dream, because someday might be today. And who knows? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. If Margaret's journey touched your heart, go ahead and click like, and hit subscribe to follow this channel. Every week, we bring you stories like this, true, tender, and full of hope. Stories that remind us all, life doesn't end at 60, it begins again.